These are 15 things you should never do in Apex Legends. Now, some of you are going to be doing all of these things, while others of you will only be doing a few. However, most people don't ever talk about these things I'm about to list, so if you watch all the way through, not only will you improve your gameplay, but you will have better etiquette in Apex Legends. So let's dive right into this. Number 1, never talk too much when your teammate is the last one alive trying to clutch a fight. This can pose distractions and unnecessary audio that could drown out enemies' footsteps. Of course, if there is something brief and imminent that they need to know, then tell them, but don't be going on and on because it will distract them, and you guys want to win, right? What is important is if you are one of the teammates that got knocked and your teammate is trying to clutch, tell them how much damage you dealt, to which legend, and what armor they have. This could be critical information to help your teammate clutch up. Number 2, never play ranked like it's pubs or pubs like it's ranked. Now, way too often when I've solo queued in the ranks, usually up until diamond, a lot of players just don't seem to think and they make terrible decisions around dropping with multiple teams or continuously pushing fights when they already have KP. Ranked is the more strategic mode in Apex. There's obviously a point system behind it, so running around aimlessly is not a viable strategy. And on the flip side, if you are playing some pubs, then you are able to run around and just try to take every fight if that's what you and your teammates want to do. There is little reward and there's little risk in just doing that in pubs, but other people may be trying to take ranked much more seriously, so please consider that in the different game modes that you play. Number 3, never give the enemy teams 3 separate 3v1s. Listen, if a man goes down, play strategic with your duo. Not all hope is lost. So many times though, a man goes down and players feel this impending urge to save them, and that's not always how it will work out. What ends up happening is the team gives the enemies 3 separate 3-on-1s, making it super easy for that enemy team to win. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this as I've solo queued or as I've coached players in this game. If one of your teammates gets caught out in a 3v1, the best thing you and your duo can do is group up, strategize, and try to take on the fight from a different angle. You may be able to potentially isolate one of the enemies so that you can then turn the fight into a 2v2, which is much more manageable for you guys. There's a whole lot of nuance with this one because of how the fight could go down, but just try to think before you run in and do something that gets you killed. Number 4, never loot your teammate's death box if they're going to get back to it. See, a lot of people don't seem to understand this one, but let me try to simplify it for you. I will swap my teammate's armor if I need it during a fight, because if that's the key to keeping me alive and eventually respawning my teammate, then that is the right move. However, if they are going to go back to their box, you don't want to be going over there looting everything out of it. So for instance, your teammate dies, you swap their armor during the fight. You clutch the fight. You don't go back over to their box and swap your weapon out and take their ammo and their heals. If you take their armor to stay alive, that's a totally different thing. But let's say you guys were in the storm and your teammate is not going to get respawned close enough to get back to their death box. Then you should take everything you need out of their box, because they should want you to be set up for success in case you get pushed after you respawn them, or if you need the heals to make it out of that storm. Sometimes people angrily comment that I grabbed my teammate's armor during a fight, and I think they just don't understand the gray area with this one, so hopefully that clarifies it for some people. Number 5, never be too conservative with your abilities. If you think the ability will provide value in that moment, use it. There's a huge amount of discretion with this sort of thing, but I often see players try to wait for the perfect moment, and that's just not how it should be done. Most abilities have a relatively short cooldown, and you will get it back. Plus, for newer players, it's good practice to see the abilities in action to determine what works and what doesn't. Now, as you get better at Apex and you move up into the higher elos, you will start to have a better idea of when and when not to use your abilities. All right, 5 down, 10 to go. Have you guys smashed the like button yet? It's free, it's for the YouTube algorithm, and it helps me out tremendously, so thank you for doing that. Number 6, never drop late onto teams and try to punch them out. 95% of the time, this is a terrible strategy and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do it. Now, I know people have done this successfully before, but here's why it's a bad idea. If all 3 of you single out one person, land on them, and then try to punch them out, that person's teammates are probably going to get guns before you guys do, and you're probably going to lose the fight altogether. Punching was also severely tuned down from a couple of seasons ago, so it's not as reliable as it once was. You should practice smart habits and try to get weapons first and then try to fight. Now, also on the topic of landing late, if you do end up landing late at a POI that a team has beat you to, you should obviously land for the section that they did not land at. This will help you get a gun first and buy you a little bit more time before you end up fighting them. Number 7, never take something if your teammate dibs it. This one is self-explanatory, and I know a lot of you already do this, but I'm just throwing it out there. Respect the dibs. It's very simple. Number 8, never hip fire the Mastiff. Always aim down sights with it. The Mastiff has a horizontal bullet spread, and when you ADS with it, it creates a slug, so to speak. So the spread becomes more condensed. It's the same concept with the choke that's on the Peacekeeper. However, on the Mastiff, this isn't something that you can toggle on or off. So yeah, just always ADS with the Mastiff. It'll be better for you. Number 9, never leave a care package weapon on the care package, especially the Kraber and the Spitfire. These guns are 10 times better in you or your teammates' hands than they are in the enemy's hands. The last thing you want to do is leave a Spitfire and then end up dying to it later on. Now, the guns like the Scout and the Volt aren't as overpowered as some previous care package weapons. In my opinion, they're still good, so you could certainly take those too. But a good habit to get in is to not leave these care package weapons lying around. And even if no one on your team wants the Kraber or something like that, you could drop it off the map or hide it somewhere. That is better than dying to it later on in the game. Number 10, never spam ping. This is the most annoying thing from random teammates that most people don't do anymore, but still I've got to put it in this video. Whether you've been fully killed and you're spam pinging the respawn beacon, or you're spam pinging enemies, or whatever it is, just tone it down. Nobody wants to hear somebody spam pinging, and it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf theory. The more you ping, the less people will pay attention to it, and the less they will believe you if you've already pinged enemies and been wrong before. Number 11, never loot the same exact path as your teammate off drop. This will anger them if you take the gun right from under their feet. If somebody else is the jump master, it's your job to break off. If you are the jump master, it's the teammate's job to break off from you. But looting the same path is not only inefficient, but it'll probably anger both of you. Number 12, never go for a revive on your knocked teammate without shield swapping first. How many times have you got a squad wipe, you were the last one alive, you clutched up, and then you instantly go and stick the revive? You should grab the armor swap off the box first and then stick the revive. You never know when the third party is right around the corner. And this is great practice for what it's like when you move up into higher elos, because better players are super aware of third partying. And if you are not armor swapping, they will catch you slipping and you will probably die right after you just got that clutch. Number 13, don't get in the habit of using all of your grenades at once. When I say grenade, I simply just mean the throwables: Arc Star, Frag Grenade, and Thermites. A common bad habit I see is, let's say a player's holding 3 grenades. They throw one, the enemy moves, it doesn't hit, and then they continue to throw the next 2. And the reason they do that is because in Apex, if you have more than one throwable, it'll just load up the next one after you just threw the previous one. So it's kind of like already in your hand and players just feel obligated to throw it, but it takes some discipline to remember, maybe I should hold on to this because that guy just moved out of the way and he probably repositioned, so why don't I see if I can get him at a later date with this? Now in this clip here, I simply did it to show you how ineffective it started to be after I launched a certain amount of grenades at this team while I was playing as Fuse. Number 14, never assume your random teammates are thinking what you are. Sometimes they might be, but randoms are going to vary widely in terms of skill set and IQ. So if you think, oh yeah, if we push this team from this direction, we should get a jump on them, and then you just start heading to execute that plan without ever articulating that to your teammates, and you are just expecting your randoms will do the same thing you are, well, you are going to be let down more times than not. So try to use pings, try to use your comms, and try to read what they're doing, particularly if you're solo queuing with randoms. Getting in this mentality of not assuming that they are thinking what you are will save you from a lot of headache. Number 15, and this is the most important one for all of you guys who are still listening, never trash talk your randoms. I mean, I get it if they said something first and they're provoking you and you respond. That's not really what I'm talking about. I get so many teammates while I'm solo queuing who start chirping once they got knocked, saying I suck or my other teammate sucks. And I can tell you, 99% of great players at this game would never trash talk to a random over their performance. Like, yes, they may complain about them to themselves, but they wouldn't directly call someone out, especially someone they don't know and for no reason. And another thing, stop getting on the mic or hopping on the text chat after you've already died to say something that is totally not helpful regarding the situation you just died from. Like, if you are going to use your mic at all, do it before you get knocked. All I want to know is who you hit and for how much. Not that you think I suck because I didn't die with you. If you guys watched this video to the end, thank you so much for doing so. I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss out on my next upload. If anyone's interested in Apex coaching lessons, the Fiverr link in the description has got you covered. Peace.